Okay, today we are taking off the upper intake on a 2004 model GMC 4.2 straight 6. Basically, to get this far, all I've taken off was the top to the air duct system right here. It was one 10mm bolt, couple, two clamps, and it got us this far. So now basically the next step is going to be to start making room to get to the bolts for this, and the first thing that's got to go is the computer harness has to be unplugged and unbolted in order to get to the lower bolts, and then the hose has to be disconnected to help you make some room. Okay, so here's with the computer off. Pretty easy. Two 10mm bolts, two 10mm studs, and the wiring harnesses, I believe it's 8mm. You just loosen them until they pop off. I grabbed a 9/32, which worked just fine. So got this off. Go ahead and set it aside somewhere safe. Definitely don't want to drop that. And then now that I'm in here, I'm seeing there is a bracket, computer bracket's gonna have to come off, just so you can get to the bolts. It's gonna be a bolt there. So I will go ahead and take this off, see what it takes to get that off. Alright, here we are with the computer off. I basically had to pretty much just take everything holding the wiring on, all the little clips. And there is one that is on towards about the middle that holds the wires underneath on, that I had to take off right here. I just pushed it through so I could push the wires down. So when I reached my hand underneath to get the one 10mm bolt, that you kind of have to go in blind and just feel your way around. Pain in the butt, took me like 10 minutes. And got it to pop off. I just pushed it down instead of bringing it all the way out, because I can reach these two bolts here. And there's probably going to be one over here in the corner. So I will start taking the bolts off. And once I get all the bolts out, I will pull the upper intake off and show you exactly how many bolts and where they were at. Alright, here we are, upper intake, all the bolts are off. Basically, it's off all the way. I'm only putting it there because I only need to get to the valve cover bolts. Only thing you're going to have to do is wiggle it out around the fuel injector rail. Make sure all your hoses and plugs are unplugged before you go yanking on it. Found out the hard way, there's a hidden bolt that you can't get to unless you take the alternator off. It's completely behind the alternator. I tried for like 10 minutes to get to it, just wasn't happening. Besides that, the back bolt, there's one in the very, very back and one in the very, very front, and those are the only two hard ones to get to. And the pattern basically goes one. Since there's one here, there's two, then one, then two, all the way back. And it pops right off. Next, I'm going to start taking the coils and plugs off, and then start on the valve cover bolts. Okay, here we are with the valve cover off. You just got to disconnect all your wiring and any hoses that you have left over from taking the intake off. I had to unbolt my AC line to get enough clearance to pull the valve cover upward. Move the wiring harness all the way over. So a pretty clear shot. My AC was empty, so I didn't have to worry about draining in it. anything out of there. And now basically you just clean it up really good. I haven't done yet. These are the gaskets that were leaking onto my plugs. And then you just put it all back together, same way you took it apart. Alright, here we are, new gasket on there. Pretty easy putting it on there. Presses right in, there's no silicone required. Make sure you put all the new boots on the bolts. Then it's ready for the reinstall and you're good to go. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.